Hey, it's Troy here. I am currently in Muncie, Indiana. I'm here for a work project a little bit later today, and I thought I'd show a few of attractions around Muncie. Um, but the most exciting one is I'm in Minnetrista Park, I believe is what it's called. It's a park with some historic homes. So you can see one back here behind me, and I just showed you one. And then it's just around a river. Got some art installations, and then a walking trail and some nature, a lot of plants and things like that. But what I'm going into is the Bob Ross experience. What many people may or may not know, Bob Ross got his start here in Muncie, Indiana. Started recording his television show here in Muncie, Indiana. And so that is what we're going to see today, the Bob Ross experience. Here we are outside the home that houses the Bob Ross experience. A nice sign here with Bob Ross. Now, I bought my ticket in advance. It has digital tickets that you can buy in advance. It was $15. I got the 9 a.m. time, but as you can see, I think I'm the only one here. So I don't know how quickly it sells out, but you can get your tickets online, $15. Here we are inside the studio, and here's just some bookshelves of some personal items that were here, and a painting. There's another painting, and some more just kind of paraphernalia from the time period, some Bob Ross photos, maybe some of his personal items that he kept around in the room. Here is the studio. This is the way it was set up. It was in the room of this home. That was the PBS studios at the time. And here it is, just a lot of quotes around the room, Bob Ross quotes, and some of his paintings. He did, a massive amount of paintings. And so here's a few more. Here is just on the camera they play back a Bob Ross episode. You can see it's just a camera from the time, and you can see his second camera and then his easel setup. The real talent behind all of this is not me, it's the people, this crew made it work. And here are some artifacts, are the paint palette that he used. They put this little Bob Ross artifact tag on there. And here's some more of his personal items that you can see. And another painting. So here's some of his brushes. You can see the Bob Ross. And then there's the easel that he used. It was more like a step ladder that he setup to be able to hold all his supplies in one place. This is the actual easel. They ended up selling different kinds of this. Here's some of the Bob Ross paints. You can see he kept the colors fairly simple so that people following along at home could buy the paints inexpensively and not need a whole lot of paint to do the paintings that he was doing on the show. So he made a great deal of extra income. So here's from the Bob Ross perspective, the cameras. Of course, the quote wasn't on the wall at the time, but he had a camera or a painting slightly off screen. He had a painting slightly off screen that he used for reference. So he would have a painting that he did off screen for reference, then he would replicate the painting on screen. And then he would usually do an improved version of the painting for books and things like that. And across from the studio, they have a replica living room from the time set up with a lot of, here's a Bob Ross Chia pet. A lot of Bob Ross items here on display, as well as 1970s and 80s items. There's a Bob Ross bobblehead. There's a Goonies. You can see, here's the Bob Ross bobblehead and a Pez dispenser. So a lot of merch, as we would call it now. Here's the living room with the sofas and Bob Ross on the TV. They have set up so you can sit in it if you like. And there's a Bob Ross toaster. He certainly knew how to merchandise himself. Bob Ross liked his little critters, and they have this sign that just talks about the Bob Ross critters that he would see out his window and paint and add to his, his love of nature. Some Bob Ross magazines. Sitting on the sofa now. They have a binder of just some Bob Ross media pieces, magazine pieces, newspaper pieces, that kind of thing. They have an interactive display on the TV. Then they have a telephone and here's an episode of the Bob Ross, A Joy of Painting, that you can watch.
Hi, I'm glad you could join me today. You sort of caught me fiddling around here a little bit. This being the last show of this series.
They say that a lot of people joke that Bob Ross was the pioneer of ASMR. That his voice, even though he's not whispering, his voice was similar to ASMR.
I don't like to start off with something you have no.
Upstairs, they have a learning room or a teaching room where people can have painting classes. you can see, got several tables and nice displays, some technology, TV displays and things like that. Be fun to take a painting class here. And then they also have these rooms with several of his paintings on display. These are from season 15, I believe, was the last season that he recorded it in these studios, and so they have a lot of paintings from that season. It's estimated that he painted in the neighborhood of like 30,000 paintings. It's just a massive amount of paintings. And here's kind of to give you the idea of the three paintings. So that one would be the one that he used as a sample for himself, that he painted prior to being on TV. This would be the one that he would paint while he was on TV. It's a slight improvement, or slight improvements from the original one that he painted. And then the third one would be what he painted for a book. So it'd be a little bit better, more improvement. Okay, I learned some interesting things here. That this was the PBS studios, the local PBS in Muncie, Indiana, at the time. And Bob Ross actually lived in Virginia. And he did painting workshops, and trying to help promote his painting workshops, he asked the PBS affiliate in Virginia if they'd do a commercial for him. And that's kind of where the genesis, or the launch of the idea for the television program became. But the PBS affiliate in Virginia didn't have the adequate studio space to do the show. So Bob started reaching out to other PBS affiliates across the country, and this here in the one in Muncie, Indiana, agreed to do the show, be the studio for his show. And then it was distributed to PBS affiliates across the country. And so he did 15 seasons. He would come here 3 or 4 times a year to film several episodes of his show. He did 15 seasons here in this studio, and then moved nearby to the campus of Ball State University, where the PBS affiliate is now. So it's a lot of interesting things to see. Definitely worth a stop if you're in the area. I enjoyed it. It was cool to see. You could see the window right there is where the studio was. It's blacked out. That's where the studio was. And so that was a great little Bob Ross experience. Now I'm moving on to other things. Okay, I'm here at the Muncie, Delaware County Visitor Center. Unfortunately, it's closed today on a Saturday, but I wanted to show this big Garfield ride, I guess, and all this Garfield merchandise, because the creator of Garfield, Jim Davis, is from Muncie. And so they embraced that, and there are Garfield statues all over town. I'm going to try to catch at least one of them before I leave town. Garfield statues all over town honoring Garfield. But they don't have a museum or anything here, unfortunately, but they do have some items here at the gift shop, or at the visitor center. Just have to come on a weekday, I suppose. And here's one of these statues I was telling you about. They're painted by local artists and displayed around the city. I think there's probably roughly 15 of them all around the city. But they look pretty cool. This one here is at the Orchard Shop. So I'm gonna go in and look around and see what they have here, but wanted to show you one of these statues. These are pretty cool. Okay, my day's coming to an end, but I had to show you this. I saw the signs on the highway and just had to stop. This astronaut here, painted up really nice with the Uranus Space Agency, because I'm here at Uranus Fudge Factory and General Store. The billboards on the highway said, "The best fudge comes from Uranus." So I had to stop and try it, because I want to see if the best fudge comes from Uranus. And then when I got here, I saw this cool astronaut. Over there's some dinosaurs. So I'm gonna go inside and get me some fudge or some ice cream or something from this store. Yeah, here it is. The best cut fudge comes from Uranus. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and end the vlog here. A very interesting store. Had lots of different items. But I got me a Big Fun in Uranus magnet. And that's about it. Oh, and got some peanut butter and chocolate fudge that I'm gonna try. So I hope you enjoyed the vlog today. See you again soon.